Sometimes you can experience acne for reasons such as hormonal acne, change in hormones. It can be to do with weight loss, and it can be to do with exercise, stress, a number of different reasons. And when I was growing up, I started getting acne quite soon on, I'd say from about 11 or 12. And it was, for me, definitely something I had inherited from my mother, who struggled with acne, not just in puberty, but right through until adulthood. And I would say probably right through until her 40s. And then I had that similar pattern. So it started from about 11 or 12, and it went right through till, I'd say, if I'm 42 now, and went through until I was about maybe 38. And so how it would look would be include the body. So that's the neck, the shoulders, chest, back, and then particularly around here and down sort of the lower neck and the jaw, all over, but that was a pattern. I have recently, been having chats to people or seen posts of people who are struggling with acne, in particular weight loss acne, so related to them losing weight or exercise. And it can be really tricky in that kind of body acne and in the face. So I thought I'd address just some of the common ways that hormonal or weight loss related acne can show up, and then some of the kinds of supplements you can use to address the issue. Underlying it all, gut health is really, really important. And I have got previous videos where I've just talked about how the lining of the gut, so your puku, in your gut, is an epithelial. Epithelial is actually an external cell type. So if you imagine us being this paper, being a human being, okay, and it's just flat. Let's go like this. Let's say it's a flat piece of paper, and that's an organism, all right? And so this is the outside of the organism. The surface here is on contact with the outside, and this surface of the organism is in contact with the outside as well, okay? And actually, it's these layers in between that is the inside. So the outside in contact with the external is called epithelial. And then this is a different name. I won't go into technicals. But epithelial means it's in contact with the outside. So if you imagine us as a human being, as an organism, this is us as an organism. Now, if you turn us into a cylinder, let me just roll this up like this, okay? So now that one flat piece is now a cylinder. This is us as a person, right? So we're a cylinder, more or less. This is how it was taught to me at university. And so our food comes into our mouth, into our esophagus, down through our intestines and everything, and then right out the bottom through our bum, our anus. But otherwise, we are just a complex version of this cylinder. We're still a cylinder. So the lining of our gut, the lining of our intestines, the lining of all our internal cavities are a cavity. But they are still cells that are in contact with the external world. That's why they're epithelial. They are in contact with the external world. They just happen to be inside a cavity. Okay, whereas these cells that are all in this part, they're not part of the cavity. They're actually internal cell types. That's how the physiology of it works, or is considered in the science world. And so what that means okay, is that what you can expect certain behavior from certain types of cells. Epithelial responds in a similar way. Just give me a second. Epithelial responds in a similar way, whether it's on the inside or the outside. There are some specializations, so skin cells do things that the gut lining doesn't, but they work in a similar way. So when you soothe your gut and you really address any issues in your digestion, you can superhumanly, no, that's extra, don't say that. You can start to address the issues that you see in your skin. And so that was the route that I took, because it was starting to get to the point of suffering as I was growing up, right? Nobody likes to see those really deep cystic kind of acne that comes around here or on the body. And what was happening was the doctors were starting to give me very, very potent hormonal treatments in the form of the pill, but a specific type of pill that puts up your estrogen levels quite high. And by going that high, as you get into your 30s, they don't want you to take it anymore. They won't prescribe it to you as you get older, because it can lead to blood clots, the higher risk of blood clots, and that's really unsafe. But the principle of what I'm trying to say is that they were trying to solve it hormonally, but what was behind the hormonal imbalance in the first place? For me, it was gut health, and here is some of the principles of why weight loss can affect your hormones as well. Okay, and then I'll show you some of the solutions. When you lose a lot of weight, okay, we all have androgens. So let's say these are androgens, male type hormones. These are estrogens, we just call them that, female type hormones. And humans, both male and female, we have both. Now we have both in slightly different amounts, right? That's what makes you sort of a male human or a female human, presenting human. Okay, so let's say you're like this, okay, because you've got some estrogen, high estrogen. Estrogen is produced not just by the sex hormones, the gonads, so your ovaries. It's also produced by other tissues, and one of those tissues is fat tissues. And so you've got your ovaries and you've got your fat tissues producing estrogen, okay? And you've got your androgens, male type hormones. We all have them, okay? Now, if you lose a whole bunch of fat, a whole lot of fat from weight loss, let's say this stays the same, your androgens, and your estrogens drop. It's this action, doesn't have to be a huge amount. It doesn't mean that these are going up. They can just stay the same. But if your estrogens, because you've lost some fat tissue or some fat, drop and drop, it's that now with the drop because of the loss in fat, these are strong. The presence of your androgens is more noticeable. It doesn't even mean that you've increased your androgens. It's just that the presence of them is more noticeable because they're less masked by the estrogen produced by fat. So proportionately, you have slightly higher androgens. And like a lot of us expect our hormones and our physiology to change overnight or to change in a month or to change in a few months. But if you've been living in a certain way for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, it takes more than a month for your body to adjust to that slight change in hormones, okay? And you need to give your body some space to do that, and it will come right, but it could take a while, okay? Here, it's come down like this, all right? So now that you have the stronger presence of androgens in your body, androgens, the male hormones, it's not just males, but we just call it that, those can be what cause the androgen sort of pattern of acne over the body, the chest, the back, the body. And there's a reason. Partly your sebaceous glands become more active. That's what androgens do. And one of the reasons I was told at university, you can take this or you can leave it, is that in primates, androgens basically make you put out oil, because oil on primates, like us with hair, makes the hair look slick and shiny and healthy. And so for the purposes of attracting a mate, you look better and you look healthy and you look lush. And so the fact that we don't have hair covering all parts of our skin anymore doesn't mean that the sebaceous glands and the hormone don't sort of still work in the same way. Okay? And so in days gone by, it was beneficial to have all the sebaceous glands sort of activated and making you look lovely and moisturized. But today, in our lifestyle, it causes acne. So that's one, the hormones coming from the loss of fat and your body needing to adjust to that loss of fat and that change in estrogen and androgens. All right, cool. Irritation. Irritation from working out is a bit of a no-brainer because you're working, so you're doing this and you've got friction and you've got sweat and you're in gyms and stuff like that. So everything's getting into your open pores. All right. So please read one of my other blogs called the clean bum test. And I talk about the principle of cleaning yourself in certain areas with oils, not water, but oil. Okay. So go and read that. You'll go back to the blogs and then you'll see clean bum tests and you'll hear me talk about cleaning and washing yourself in intimate areas in your bum, under your breasts and your face with lipids. So coconut oil, olive oil, not soap. Okay, so irritation. When you are irritated somewhere, the body's defense mechanism is to throw a whole lot of like anti-inflammatory or inflammatory things there to stop it from getting hurt. It starts to overproduce skin in those areas. So, you know how you get chafing and you get hard, toughened skin? That's the body's contribution to protect yourself in those areas. When you have a whole lot of skin being produced, as it dies, there's more dead skin sloughing off and plugging up the open pores. Yeah. So irritation causes a whole lot of inflammation and activity and skin death and skin sloughing off, getting stuck into the open pores, and it's open from the exercise. So the solution for that is to get into the practice of washing and cleansing with oil and moisturizing so regularly that your body doesn't have all that friction irritating it. Okay, lipids, washing down your body with lipid. The other thing, just doing one video. Is everything okay? Oh. So the other thing that you can use is a non-dairy source of protein. I have one here, chocolate shake pea protein. So pre-protein powder, 85%. Now, I have done a number of different eating protocols in my training life. And one of them is keto. I do really well on keto physically. So my muscles get lush, my body gets strong. I don't get sick. I look tight, lose all the fat under my skin. However, because of keto having a reasonably high level of animal proteins and things like butter and cream and adding all of those kind of dairy-based fats to the diet, I would end up with the worst like cystic acne around here. So I would be looking good and tight and muscly and fit and low fat. But over here, it would just be this angry, deep cystic acne. So whilst I don't mind, I love dairy, I don't eat it. When I'm in training mode, I go for now, and this has been really gentle on the body, as well as having some good fiber in it, chocolate shake pea protein. So vegan sources of your protein. Okay, but generally when people are on health kicks, you increase your amount of dairy. So dairy I used to work in the dairy industry. That's why I have a fair amount to say about it. And proteins from dairy cows, it's made for dairy cows. It's made for baby cows. So for our bodies, it's actually quite an indigestible product, and it flares up and causes inflammation and irritation in this here. Remember what we were talking about? In the gut there, down in that little cavity there, that cylinder that we are, it irritates the lining of your gut for many people. And so therefore, what happens in the gut happens and comes out in the outside, in the skin. So that was that. Now, yeast is the other one, Candida. When you have low moisture in your skin because you're working out and you're washing a lot, you're in contact with gyms and workout places, you're losing body fat, so you naturally have less lipids in your body. So your body is like dry leather rather than luscious, brand new, fat, juicy leather. Okay, that's an environment where you're like not nurturing or the right kind of biome. What do you call it? Flora. So the bacteria and the fungi and the things that live on your skin that keep it nice and balanced are less present. And that's an environment where Candida or yeast, which lives on the surface of our skin and lives in our nether regions normal. It's always there, and it lives inside our gut. It's always there, but if it becomes imbalanced because of your change in lifestyle, those good bacteria and flora is outweighed by the Candida, the yeast, and the Candida and the yeast starts to flourish. Okay, and once it flourishes, and all other types of bacteria, it gets into the pores, which is well and truly open because you're training a lot, and it starts to fester. And so some things are Candida, a form of thrush, and thrush is irritation. Irritation can lead to acne. Okay, and I think that was about it. So we had hormonal, increase in dairy, we had inflammation, irritation, and we had yeast from having, from being dry, from not being lush. Now let me just check on my photo from yesterday and I'll have a look. No, that's not going to work. It's not doing that. But I think that's it. So really focusing on your gut health will help. Non-dairy sources of protein and not increasing your dairy too much in a time when you're changing your eating and you're losing weight. Keeping up your fiber. I have a great fiber source here that also has prebiotics in it. So keeping up your fiber because it keeps the irritants moving through your puku, your stomach. Okay, you want probiotics in there. So I have probiotics in this fiber, and we have probiotics. This is a tray probiotic. So it has pre, pro, and postbiotic. You put that in your diet. So you want to increase your dietary probiotics. And I've always put magnesium in my diet too, magnesium powder. So magnesium powder just helps with the muscle contractions and moving everything through the body and keeping that healthy. It's like not allowing, it's like a pond, a stream that moves versus a pond. If you keep your gut movements and digestion moving like a stream, it remains clear and clean. If it starts to pond, it gets a bit rancid, just like a pond does. I like this particular brand and make of magnesium because of the it's got a really great concentration, but it also has zinc, which is, if you're low in zinc, you have a higher tendency probably to have acne. And it has vitamin C, taurine as well. It's really great for muscles, helps relieve cramps, mild spasms, aches, and pain. So this is really just to keep all your muscles moving, to keep the stream going. And I have I recommend this one, a probiotic sachet set. You have one every 2 days. You need to have both. One's an activator and one is the probiotic, and you mix it in with water. And of course, probiotics, just do it until you feel better. You don't have to always supplement yourself from now until forever. It's just until you feel good and things start to clear up. It could be a couple of months, and you'll need to work on continually letting your digestion move through and get out all the plaque lining your gut. And I encourage you to increase the amount of lipid you have in your diet. If you are losing a little weight, if you're training a lot, or if you've already lost a lot of fat and experiencing acne, try giving yourself more of the thing that you think you should get out of your diet, and that is good fat. So olive oil, coconut oil. We sell CLA through Modere, so that's conjugated lipoleic acid. A specialized lipid that's being drawn out of coconut oil, safflower, and things like that. You really need lipid so that your body is like nice brand new leather rather than dry, tough leather. Dry, tough leather cracks, okay? And those kind of cracks is like irritation. Irritation is where candida and bacteria that create acne get in. So we need your body to be lush, flowing, and flexible, moisturized with lipids. So that's coconut oil, olive oil, moisturizing all of these areas down here in your nether regions, so that it doesn't make an irritated place for bacteria and fungus and yeast to get in, which is partly where acne can come from. And we need to increase your probiotics in your diet, as well as natural sources like kimchi, sauerkraut, and kagapito as examples, so that good bacteria outweigh all of the candida and the bacteria that causes acne. Kapai, probiotics, more lipids in your diet, more lipids on the outside of your body, and try dropping your fat slowly rather than dropping lots of weight, putting on weight, dropping lots of weight, putting on weight. Your skin will thank you for it if you try and slow the rate of fat loss down and instead just do it slowly, increase your muscle, rather than shocking your body, because the hormones can take some while to catch up and change. So you could be waiting a little while. But there's some things you can do to support yourself through this transition. I hope that's been helpful for those of you who have suffered or don't want to suffer from acne. And this is me, with no makeup, as a survivor and thriver from acne, all done through gut love.